in the state of wakefulness, in the dreaming state, in the state of deep sleep. You find out the secrets of knowing, of knowledge, and you utilize those correctly to experience the transcendence from gross to subtle. So this is the journey that we have discussed yesterday. The next state, the middle level of aspirant, where his evolution, the spiritual evolution, is of a lower category. He needs little more inputs to reach that state of supreme consciousness. Then what is the tool for him? For Pingala, on her own she reached the goal. She didn't require time to reach there. She didn't require any external support to reach there. It was the strength of her inquiry. So what tool did she use for that? Her own mind. So the aspirant who is in the thick and thin of the materialistic world, for him or her, the tool to reach the supreme consciousness is mind. So the Shiva Sutra says, mind is mantra. Your mind is the mantra itself. So you have to use your mind as mantra. Manan iti mantra. You have to do the manan. How do you do that? Using the ability of your mind. So mind becomes the canvas. On that you paint the picture. So mind is the mantra. That is the guidance from Shiva Sutra for the middle level of aspirants. Chittam mantra. Mind is mantra. How do you do that? Every single thought coming to your mind, you direct it towards the God consciousness. Every single thought coming to your mind is directed towards the supreme consciousness, towards the God. And that gives you the experience of God. You don't have to do any other thing. And Pingala succeeded in her attempt. That's why the example. So mind is mantra. So mind is your own guru. Sri Guru Datta is guru of gods. And there is a beautiful pad in Marathi. It says, Shanta ho Shri Guru Datta, mama chitta shamaviyata. Aparadhastava gurunatha, daridanda dharisi yathartha. A guru, what does he do to the disciple? He calms his mind. The multiple thoughts, the dance of thoughts which the mind experiences, the guru calms it down. How? Through the meaningful interaction, by transcending his own powers to the disciple. There are multiple means, but ultimately what he does to a disciple, he calms down his mind. So Guru Upaya is one sutra of Shiva Sutra, and Chittam Mantra is another sutra, and these both are interrelated. Mind is the playground, and this mind is used for elevating one's own self to the ultimate realized self. And how it is done? It is done by calming down the thoughts, the mind. So for a seeker, for an aspirant, who wants to experience the Supreme Consciousness, mind is a tool. And one of the prominent works that one needs to do with the mind is bringing down the desires. Vasana namare kaise ko bhavatare. Tirtha ko sab kare, deva puja kare. To calm down the mind, we do multiple remedies, one of which is the pilgrimage. And if this pilgrimage is to ensure the flow of your life, and even in doing that, if you are not keeping your desires away, then the experience of Supreme Oneness is not going to be achieved. It won't be experienced. So for that, you have to work on your desires, reduce your desires, or channelize your desires to the experience of the Supreme Being. So this is the job of a guru, that guru would channelize your desires to reach the ultimate reality, the Supreme Being, the form of Shiva, the Paramashiva. We were discussing yesterday that a yogi, he goes through multiple phases when he is evolving as a yogi to realize Supreme Consciousness. There is a possibility of descent. Skhalan, the Sanskrit word for which is. So you will lose that higher state which you have used, which you have reached after your efforts, the spiritual efforts. For example, we were discussing that yogi gets the power to remove the sufferings of his associates, disciples, and so on. What happens when he sticks there to that position? His experience of going further to experience the Supreme Consciousness is deprived of. He won't reach there. So this is the skhalan. The mind will tell him that, see, you have got a power. People are coming to you. You have become a famous person. You are doing good for them. And why don't you want to experience the Supreme Consciousness? There is no need to do that. You are enjoying everything which is around you. And if his mind accepts that, that's the skhalan. Then he has come down. Then the upward journey of him to experience the Supreme One has stopped. So this skhalan happens to every spiritual aspirant. Then how should one deal with this? Shiva Sutra says, prayatnaha sadhakaha. Keep practicing. Be one-pointed. Prayatna. Keep your efforts on. And one who keeps his efforts on is the real seeker. So the beauty or the inherent character of a seeker is his efforts. He is consistent in his efforts. He is persistent in his efforts. That is prayatnaha sadhaka. So now the seeker is using his mind as a canvas, as a tool to reach the Supreme. There is a possibility that the mind, which experiences the dance of emotions and thoughts, it will always try to bring him down from his upward journey, from his elevation. If that is happening, then what a seeker should do, he should continue with his efforts. Prayatnaha sadhaka. He should not give away. He should know that he has come down because of XYZ thing. He has to overcome that and again continue with the effort. So that is the second sutra of Shaktopai. Now we have entered into Shaktopai, the Shakti, the bridge to reach the Supreme Consciousness. The Shiva, Shakti and Nara. This is the trilogy of Shiva Sutra or Kashmiri Shaivism. So we have to reach the Shiv. We have to reach the ultimate being. What is the tool? What is the bridge that helps us reach there? That is Shakti. And Shakti rules over the mind. So we are dealing with mind now. Yesterday, it was the conscious being who had to reach to the Supreme Consciousness. Now, it's a being which is ruled by the mind. So his consciousness is of a lower grade. His mind is active mind. For him, the mind itself, the Chittam Mantra, the mind itself has to be made the mantra. The powerful tool of Manan, that persistent thought process. On what? On reaching the supreme goal. So that consistency has to be there. That persistence has to be there. And then it becomes the mantra. Mantra we recite many times. Why? The sign of mantra is recitation, repetition, persistence. So this persistence has to be there. And this is done through the mind. So your mind is persistently reminding itself that I have to reach that supreme consciousness. This is mantra, Chittam mantra. I have to experience that ultimate reality. How do I do that? I do it with the efforts. There is a possibility that I may fall down in my consistency. I may fail in my consistency, and I continue rising my levels up through the efforts. Prayatnaha sadhaka. Then I become the real seeker. Then Vidya Sharira Satta Mantra Rahasyam. Vidya, knowledge. Sharir, form. Satta, authority. Mantra, the persistence on one aspect of knowledge, and Rahasyam is the secret. Vidya Sharira Satta Mantra Rahasyam. So this knowledge in its form, it is the authority. It has become the authority. So whatever persistent effort he has done for a period, that brings him the knowledge. And that knowledge, whatever form it is, for example, I am meditating for 1 year, 2 years, so on. And if it brings kindness to a person, that kindness is Vidya Sharira Satta. Then kindness becomes the authority with which he is judging, he is meeting the people. So, after the meditation for 3 years, what he has achieved the kindness, he has achieved the compassion. So that's the knowledge he has gained from the meditation, that persistent practice. How he is using that he is using in his day-to-day life as an authority. In the sense, it has obvious thing that comes out of him now. That has become authority in the sense, it comes obviously. That becomes an identity of his personality. That is mantra rahasyam, the persistence with which one follows or does his spiritual practice. He achieves the knowledge, he reaches the knowledge, and that knowledge, that form of knowledge becomes the authority. Vidya Sharira Satta Mantra Rahasyam. So this practice brings virtue to a person, and these virtues are the secrets of mantra. They come from the secrets of mantra. They come from the persistence of following the mantra. This is the third sutra of Shaktopai. Then is Vidya Samuthane Swabhavike Khechari Shivavastha. This knowledge is rising now. The seeker is persistent in his practice. He wants to reach the goal. His efforts are on. Prayatnaha sadhaka. He is working hard. His efforts are on. And then the knowledge is rising. Vidya Samuthan. The knowledge, Vidya Samuthan, is rising. Vidya Samuthane Swabhavike. And then it becomes a very obvious thing for him to be knowledgeable, since he is persistent in his practice. He is focused on his goal. His one-pointedness assures that he is rising in his spiritual practice. He is reaching closer to the goal of experiencing the supreme consciousness. And how this can be experienced through the bodily being? It is experienced by Khechari Shivavastha. Vidya Samuthane Swabhavike Khechari Shivavastha. Yesterday while we were talking about the Matrika, in that Khechari is the one which resides near the hole on this soft palate, and that goddess is the one who controls the knowledge that we get. So she is the controller of knowledge. Khechari is the goddess who is controller of the knowledge. And when you do the Khechari Shivavastha, you experience that from this soft hole on the soft palate, persistently the nectar is secreting. That is the experience of a yogi. And when does he experience? He experiences it when he is persistent in his practice, he is focused, his knowledge is rising, and then it rises to a level and it becomes the obvious state, and in that state this Khechari brings him to the Shivavastha, that is the form. Shiva is a form, so he becomes himself like Shiva. Since he is experiencing the nectar of spirituality, he is experiencing the nectar of supreme consciousness. So this is the sign with which we can experience with our bodily being. Vidya Samuthane Swabhavike Khechari Shivavastha. Now the mind is stable. Mind is the platform for every spiritual action which the yogi is doing, the aspirant or the seeker is doing. He is reaching the goal, he is traveling the journey, he is flowing towards the supreme consciousness. And when he is flowing there, if he has any problem in this journey, if the skhalan happens, if he fails in his journey, he comes down from the elevated state. We have discussed, Guru is the remedy. Guru Upaya. Then Guru is the remedy that will help him, that this small tweaking you have to do, you again are enjoying your right journey to the supreme goal, the supreme consciousness. And how does Guru help him? With the remedy. That remedy is Matrika Chakra Sambodha. Again he comes to the Shakti. Because Shakti is the communicator. We discussed yesterday. She is the ruler of form. Whatever is understood by our cognitive abilities, that is breathed by Shakti. She facilitates it. So the Guru, he helps him with the help of Matrika Chakra Sambodha. In the sense, he reminds him that these are the forms of communication, these are the words, these are the mantra, this is the practice. If you are meditating and your meditative experience is not taking you to the desired goal, then use a different asana, use a different practice, do the asana, do the yogic asana so that your body is, what you can say, capable of continuing the long meditation, so on and so on. So the Guru will realize where exactly the problem lies. And then he will suggest him that you have to tweak these things. You have to go for XYZ thing, and then you will continue your journey again successfully. And what tool he is using? He is using the Matrika Chakra Sambodha. So he is guiding him with the help of Shakti, the form. if you are reciting the Guru mantra for 10 years, for example, and that has made you reach X state, then the Guru will say, now you have reached a state where you need to shift from Guru to the Shiva. That is the advice given by Guru. Then the flow becomes a smooth flow. So the obstacle is removed. That stagnancy is removed. So this is the Matrika Chakra Sambodh. With the help of form, with the help of Matrika, with the help of Shakti, Guru advises the disciple who has some obstacles in his spiritual journey that will lead him to continue the journey that takes him to the experience of ultimate reality. Then happens the negation. Because until this experience, the experience of bodily being is a prominent experience. The body has been used as a prominent tool to reach the goal. And yet the bodily considerations are prominent ones in the experience. Then the Guru guides him, or the Shiva Sutra guides to the seeker. Shariram Havi. Shariram Havi. Havi means the offering in the yajna. So your sharir, your body is the offering to the divine. So my boy, you have reached a state now that you have experienced the Supreme to an extent, you have reached that level of consciousness. Now onwards, your bodily being doesn't remain consideration anymore. So sharir becomes the habi. Sharir becomes an offering in the yajna of his knowledge. So the yajna of knowledge which he is conducting, he has to offer his own body. By this, he has to not consider his bodily being prominently in his experience of consciousness. Now the bodily being becomes a secondary or no consideration. The bodily being, the pain of body, the suffering of body, the experience of joy through body, these are no more there's no more appeal to the seeker. They are no more part of his spiritual journey. And that's why Shariram Havi. Now the sense of bodily being is over. That's the next step. Now the body is not there. So the desire for good food obviously won't be there. Desire for good clothes won't be there. Desire for bodily pleasures won't be there. Then what this soul who is on a journey of supreme consciousness, what will he eat? He will eat knowledge. Jnanam annam. So for the seeker who has reached a state where his bodily being is no more prominent feature of his existence, for him knowledge becomes food. What type of knowledge is it? This is undifferentiated knowledge. This knowledge of supreme consciousness, this knowledge of oneness of existence, this knowledge of supreme reality, that becomes the food for his existence. So he is dependent, he is living, his livelihood is dependent on the knowledge he receives. So he has no bodily aspirations left, and his only livelihood is dependent on knowledge. Jnanam anyam. And then vidya samhare tadutta swapna darshanam. So vidya samhar. Vidya is knowledge. Samhar means going away of knowledge, disappearance of knowledge. Tadutta swapna darshanam. And when he is eating this knowledge, having this knowledge, and when he, by his misfortune, he loses that knowledge, he again goes to the dreaming state. the state where he is experiencing the vikalpa, the confusions. So until now, with the help of Guru, he has reached a state that only knowledge is his food for existence. Now he has reached a state that by his misfortune he fails from the state, and yet he comes to a level where the experience of consciousness has disappeared. He now has come down to a state where still he has to rise further, all those levels which he had reached, again to experience that supreme consciousness. So this coming down and rising up is a persistent exercise in the spiritual journey. And for a seeker who is less conscious of his existence, for him it is more. One who is dependent on who is a prey to his mind game, for him it is more often to happen. This persistent downfall in the spiritual journey happens when one is dependent on the mind game. One falls prey to the mind game. This is Shaktopai.